What's good with y'all, collective? This gonna be a collective energy clairvoyant reading for January of 2026. Y'all make sure y'all give the video a like, subscribe to the channel if y'all enjoy the content. I will have a donations link in the description box below. So let's go ahead and see what's going on for the current energy. So what's going on for the current energy for the collective? Page of Swords, Temperance Reverse, Four of Swords. That's too many cards. By the way, I feel much better energetically after I done that read earlier. That really cleared out a lot of negative energy. You know what I'm saying? I'm back with a read for the collective. So I'm back with another reading for y'all. I had to do a personal reading earlier to investigate something. All right, so what do we have for the current energy for the collective? Let's go ahead and do a read for the collective. Damn, Hierophant reverse. Don't want to leave the cards alone. Don't want to leave the energy alone. Corruption. Okay, so this may be a read involving corruption. Something that's not going to be ignored. Okay, so this could be in regards to a corrupt situation that's not being ignored. This could be on multiple, like in multiple different areas. Multiple different places. Corruption is no longer being ignored in multiple different places. That's drawing a lot of attention to it. That's what I'm getting intuitively. So there may be corruption that may be occurring with multiple different places. This is in regards to the crosses being in reverse, so there's a problem. This is not really with the First Amendment, which is belief or religion. This has more so to do with certain ethics and something else. I'm hearing pollution of ethics. Pollution of ethics. This don't even have anything involving politics either with the Hierophant reverse. This has nothing to do with the government, to be honest, with the Hierophant reverse. It's something to do with something that is corrupting certain things to project an illusion as if it's really that setting that may be doing something, but it's really not. Wow. Four of Cups reverse. Okay, so there's some truths coming out that's drawing attention to that. But genuine people that may be there to protect you like this are there to actually make sure that you're secure and protected, but yet something is trying to project something on that when it's not. Because why are there certain things there to protect you? Okay, so there's some things being questioned here. There's a lot of questioning going on. A lot of questioning going on. Yeah, the High Priest reverse. This is in regards to witches and warlock energy. Okay, so if some people didn't know what was going on when it comes to this suspicious activity, of things that don't make any logical sense, it's coming out that this is related to witchcraft and dark practices. This is definitely related to cult activity too, with the High Priestess and the Hierophant reverse. There's something very significant about cult practices that are coming out that hasn't had a legitimate explanation beyond why certain activities will occur. That's what I'm getting intuitively. There's something very significant about cult-like practices that people wasn't able to identify them accurately in the past, a long time ago. Like, this has been going on for a long time. And people always falsely accuse the wrong people of doing certain things, but yet what is being done don't operate within certain government policies with the Hierophant reverse. It's the opposite of that. Cult-like practices are completely different than this right here. Y'all get where I'm coming from when it comes to that? This is related to witch and warlocks that are practicing certain things that are causing illusions in order for this to be projected upon something that is not, to try to get the attention swayed away from it. That's the kind of energy I'm getting from the Hierophant reverse. This is also connected to these individuals that may not properly be able to, blah, I can't even speak right, man. Fuck. This may be connected to a situation in regards to people that may have not been able to identify properly what was going on with certain activities, and yet they're blaming the wrong ones, and therefore that's why the reports are discredited. That's why they get looked upon as they don't know what they're talking about. This is included to the ones that may be broadcasting as how they're being a victim of gang stalking. They're not properly identifying that, and they want to falsely accuse of COINTELPRO being done. This is not COINTELPRO. This is related to cult practices. That's completely different than that. COINTELPRO is completely different than that. I know that was a long time ago, but still, though, this is completely different. This information can actually have people discredited because they're not identifying it properly. And I'm not here to because I know what people are trying to say when it comes to whenever they identify the activity as gang stalking. That means a group of people that group up together to gang up together to stalk somebody. That's what it means. But at the same time, you cannot identify that to a government organization that is there to protect you. Because when you go to them with that information, of course, they may be able to take your report. But if you're not identifying it with the exact violation of titles and sections or certain codes and things that will be able to properly identify it, then it's going to be overlooked. But it could have drawn attention to it, but they just weren't able to fully successfully complete an investigation when it comes to that. So that right there could have got in the way of the credibility of the report when it comes to the way it's reported. You cannot go to the FBI and say that you're being gang stalked. You cannot be doing that. Now, I can't tell anybody how to identify a certain activity with reports, but I could give you my solid knowledge on the way that I was able to identify certain things that was credible enough for me to be heard. You cannot go to them whenever this activity is occurring because they're going to look at you and possibly be like, there's nothing they can do to help you. They may tell you to contact the locals, or they may direct you somewhere else other than them, because something is not being identified properly within their jurisdiction to investigate. Okay? Now, to the ones that may identify that, I know what you're talking about. Trust me, I know exactly what you're trying to say. But you cannot go to them or somebody in a government position and address it as that. Okay? Because some of them may not even know what that is. But at the same time, I understand what you're saying. But when it comes to identifying the activity of stalking, you have to identify it as organized crime, organized stalking. But there has to be a leadway behind that when it comes to that, okay? So when you have certain individuals that are sitting there following you, and you notice the activity, you could have spotted a GPS tracker, you cannot go to them and identify it as gang stalking. Now, you can produce your evidence as, hey, this is a group that is committing the violation of Title 18 USC Section 241 because they're trying to intimidate you and oppress you, because of certain activities being used in order to conspire to either injure you through oppression, intimidation, and bullying and harassment, which therefore makes it unlawful for one or two more persons to engage in that type of activity to oppress or to intimidate you. All right? But you can identify it as, hey, there's a bit of organized stalking that is occurring that's connected to organized crime. You have to know how to identify this accurately. Okay? You don't have to be perfect. They're not looking for you to be perfect. But when it comes to your reports that you may be making, make sure that it's not misinformation or misrepresentation of what they can investigate, because it's not going to be credible enough in order for you to be taken seriously. Now, I'm not saying that it's not a serious situation. It's all about the seriousness of how you identify it, because they pay attention to details. Now, when it comes to this malicious activity that's occurring with these cars that be stalled there in these parking lots, I'm going to identify what this is. This is what you call on a spiritual level monitoring spirits. It's a ritualistic practice that has taken a form in a 3D reality. That's not going to identify it as gang stalking. This is monitoring spirit activity done from a ritualistic practice to conjure up malevolent forces of monitoring spirits in order to monitor you. That would be the spirit of torment. This is more so on a spiritual level. That's why they may be having a hard time identifying it logically what this may be. But this is all related to cult-like practices. Okay, this has nothing to do with COINTELPRO or any of that. All right? It don't even really much have more so to do with organized crime when it comes to that, but it's mixed in with that. So that right there is where it's tricky at. It's mixed in with that. But when it comes to this activity, when it comes to these individuals lingering and loitering, and you notice how something don't make logical sense with how long that car is sitting there, that's idling, when nobody moving, nobody getting out the vehicle or exiting the vehicle, or they may be doing something extremely strange that you cannot explain on a logical level, that's what you would call a monitoring spirit. Okay? So therefore you have monitoring spirit activity, which therefore can be identified as a bit of stalking because it's monitoring. Monitoring means watching. But that monitoring spirit is doing things to violate the 3D law when it comes to exploiting vulnerabilities of your weaknesses, trying to identify something that you're weak at. Rather if you're in fear, rather if you may be in anxiety, it's there to monitor you on a spiritual level. But the 3D violation can be interpreted as stalking. Okay? But when it comes to that activity, that right there will be monitoring spirit activity due to a ritualistic practice being done from cult-like practices. Judgment, the Nine of Cups, the Three of Pentacles, the Three of Swords, the Four of Wands. Okay, so, oh look, this is a good energy. It's a good energy. That's what I like seeing. Judgment and justice in the upright position. That's what I'm talking about. Six of Swords, Queen of Swords. What he gonna do? Six of Pentacles reverse. You know what I'm saying? Ten of Swords reverse. Okay, so something that's coming out here in regards into, this could be the way that some of you out there could have reported something. And you could have been heard with the Judgment card. This definitely has a lot to do with witch and warlock energy. And then you have abusive position with the Six of Pentacles reverse. But the original thing of what I'm trying to let y'all know about the situation is you cannot identify certain things with misrepresentation of it. To misrepresent it. If that makes any sense. If you ever notice strange activity occurring in order to try to cause you harm, that right there is being done from monitoring spirit activity from cult-like practices. That means underworld powers are at play and they could be working with portals. You have to keep in mind that individuals that's not fully connected within themselves are easily taken over by a demonic force that can possess their body in order to monitor you. That's why you notice how these individuals stop and freeze with no movement. You cannot identify that logically through a form of gang stalking. So anyways, if some of you has ever reported something with the Judgment card, you're definitely being heard. You could be making something better within a community setting with the Ten of Pentacles energy. Your voice matters out there to this world. And I'm also getting that there's some of the people in the law that are starting to really pay attention and to listen in on what you have to say. That may also be guided to take accountability. There may be some form of agreement for these law officials to take accountability, or whoever has been involved with taking part in these practices in order to take accountability to make this place a better place with the Ten of Pentacles energy. Because you don't want this in reverse. That right there is pollution to humanity and hurting a lot of people. You want this back in the upright position, even if they have to fire a few individuals or to give them some type of punishment to where they can no longer work as an authority figure anymore, if this is related to that. But this is related to law energy here. They may have to suffer some consequences that no longer been an authority figure anymore for them to learn their lesson. And I'm getting that people will see a better change within a community setting or within a lot of places out there that this is happening in. But they must be held accountable. These cult people, like people that's trying to masquerade themselves as an official, but in reality they're a cult member, they have to be removed. They have to be removed. This right here is going to better the law. So they're paying attention to that. Because you cannot have no cult leaders, bro, or cult members taking part in these practices right here. This is against rules and regulations. And I'm getting that somebody in authority, could be a judge, holding these individuals accountable for taking part in those practices, because this is causing harm with the Three of Swords. So if some of you are addressing the issue publicly, or you may be addressing this issue and working with other people in the law to help them better understand what is going on, what has caused a lot of unease, and where this abusive position of power is coming from, they could be sitting there agreeing to work with you and to better things with the Ten of Pentacles and the Three of Pentacles energy, to where people can move on to calmer water, where there's going to be a lot much more peace within a public setting. With the Four of Wands upright, then you have the Ten of Pentacles upright. Okay? But the ones that are involved with this High Priestess and Hierophant reverse energy, they have to be removed. I'm also getting, this could be blah, fuck! But I'm tired of hesitating, bro. It's like a lot of energy. It's like a lot of information is trying to come out all at one time, and I can't stand that energy. So there may be a law being made to where these individuals that are engaging in that or maybe part of something can no longer be working there with the Six of Pentacles reverse. There could be something that could be an order that could be being put in to where these individuals that are engaging in that, or if they're any type of members, a cult leader or a member, they cannot be employed as an official. The minute you get caught doing shit like that, you're out of there. You ain't gonna be sitting there betraying people like that. I'm getting that this could be a new law being made with the Judgment and the Justice card. It's all because of you speaking up on something. Because I have plenty of people out there that are speaking up about it, especially when it comes to the spiritual community. Okay, so I'm getting kind of a vibe here to where if the government didn't like you, it's not the government that don't like you. They're there to protect you. They're supposed to be there to protect you, not sit there and harm you. If you're a spiritual person, it's protected under the First Amendment. So I'm getting that the law may be agreeing to listen to the spiritual community now with the Judgment card, because they have the answers to things that's unidentifiable within their investigations. They don't make any logical sense. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so the law may be agreeing to hear the spirit community out as I say, you know what, y'all are right. Y'all are right. They can't be doing that with the three. So they can't do that. Six of Pentacles reverse. Okay, so the law may be agreeing, or the government even may be agreeing to hear you out, especially the law here, as I say, you know, y'all right, y'all are right, y'all are right. It is illegal. It is against practices. It is against rules and regulations and policies. You are right. You are right. That's not the law. The law ain't supposed to be doing that. Okay, so we have an agreement here. We have an agreement here. What they gonna do? What they gonna do? They're going to sit there, they're going to be judged for it. That's what they're going to do. Bro, this is making me happy because my energy is in there with the Judgment. That's Scorpio energy. They got Libra energy, Pisces energy, Taurus energy. The law could be coming into agreement as I say, you know what? Y'all are right. The spiritual community is right. Especially if you know a lot about how to identify certain things. With these two being in reverse, if anybody is caught as a witch or a warlock or engaging in witchcraft practices that are known as these people, that's not protected under the First Amendment when it comes to serving and protecting. They cannot be engaging in these practices while supposedly serving the community, because this is harming people. And this may be a law that's passed as I say, you know what, spiritual community is right. Because this right here is against rules, regulations, and policies. This is not of the law. This is abuse. This is abuse. And they will be told to leave, what it looks like. They will no longer be allowed to work there. They have to leave. They have to leave. They have to leave. They're throwing them out of there. They have to leave. You ain't going to be running this within the law anymore. No, you're not. The law's going to be back balanced, bro. With the justice card. These individuals got to go. They got to go. They got to go. And this is going to better a lot of things within the law. Y'all look at that. This is going to better communities. This is going to better communities and actually heal communities without this activity, because all this has been seen to be doing is harming people. This is not a lawful practice either with the Six of Pentacles reversed. This is abuse of power. I can feel these individuals getting angry. Good, you're going to stay angry. You ain't going to be in these positions. You ain't serving and protecting one bit. Get your witchy ass out of there. Get your warlock ass out of there. You ain't no official. You ain't nothing part of the law, bro. You ain't nobody. Get your ass on out of there. You ain't going to sit in there and keep on doing this. This is all under judgment. You ain't doing your job the right way and you being seen to be doing this, you're out of there. What's the matter? You're afraid of people speaking up? You're afraid of things being made right? To where people can no longer be attacked by these type of abusive practices? This is deceptive practices, scams. And this is all cult-like related. It's cult-like related. Yeah. If they engage in anything of this activity, if they are a witch or if they are a warlock, if they engage or being seen to be doing any type of cult-like practice, they are out of there. They're under judgment right now. There's witches and warlocks under judgment right now that's being told to leave. They have to leave. They have to leave. And this is going to make a public setting a lot better with the Ten of Pentacles. Because all these individuals are being seen to be doing is abusing that badge. Using this to their advantage in order to commit wicked activities to violate people's rights while violating rules and regulations within the institution. There's cult leaders that's being told to leave too. They're laying them off. They got to go. Cult leaders and cult members. Both of them. Both of them being identified. They're out of there. They're out of there. I'll get something very significant about a cult leader. They could be a male cult leader and a female cult leader. Okay, so there could be two authority figures that could have been seen to be causing a lot of ruckus around a public setting, and other people that's employed in the law was following these corrupt, unlawful orders. Ooh, both of these individuals are being told to leave. They got to leave. There's a witch and there's a warlock here that thinks that they run the show with a situation. Two cult leaders, a female one and a male one right here, that thinks that they're going to run stuff this way. No, they're not. No, they're not. They're being told to leave. They're being told to leave. Why am I getting that? These individuals are under judgment right now and being told to leave. Oh, because of somebody speaking out on a public platform. This could be several people speaking out about that. Okay, so somebody's a true leader. Somebody's a true leader. Somebody's speaking up. There could be several people speaking up on a public platform. Like I said, a few people could be coming forward with this information. It's all because somebody taking a lead and actually announcing this publicly. That, hey, this is what's taking place. And I'm getting the laws taking this individual side as I say, you know what? They're backing you up with that. The judge and everything, what it looks like. They got judge here and they got the justice card right there. That's the judge and that's the law. They're backing you up with that. What they gonna do? You know what I'm saying? That's a victory. That's a victory. Clarify the Six of Wands. Clarify that. The Chariot reverse. Okay, so the main reason why this is under judgment for this to happen is because there's been obstacles that has been examined and evaluated, and these individuals are relentlessly trying to put obstacles in this individual's way. Something was also exposed publicly about suspicious vehicle activity with idling vehicles, not movement. No movement of a vehicle, just sitting there. Somebody exposed that publicly. This is all connected to this right here, bro. Hierophant reverse and the high priest reverse with the Six of Pentacles reverse. That's part of occult practice. That ain't got a damn thing to do with COINTELPRO or none of that. It's a cult-like practice. But that right there is being seen as intimidation. It's being seen as intimidation and not right with the Chariot reverse. And if you look at this card right here, they have RIOT, riot. You don't know what these individuals are capable of doing just sitting there like that. You don't know if they're really posing a threat to you or not. With the Chariot reverse. Bro, that's weird to just have a vehicle just sitting there. That's weird. I'm going to tell you why it's weird. What identifies it as weird, because it's a cult practice taking place. There's something very sinister going on inside that vehicle with the Chariot reverse, because that's not normal. That's not normal. Somebody exposed something involving vehicle activity, involving a vehicle that's just sitting there with a Chariot reverse. This was exposed. They have plenty of people that's exposing this on the media too. But when it comes to some of what these individuals are identifying it as, they're not really identifying it properly, but it's the same activity. It's something to be paid attention to. But it's the way that they may be identifying it. Chariot is in reverse. So clarify that. Queen of Wands. So this is connected to vehicles that's just sitting there. This right here is pertaining to monitoring. This is connected to some witchy energy. This is definitely connected to some witchy energy. This could be also connected to, you know what I'm getting from this? A witch with an animal like that, that's able to control animals or able to control other people. Skinwalking energy. This is definitely related to witchy energy, witchcraft energy. This is a form of a dark witchcraft ritual. Five of Cups. This could be related to energy harvesting. This may be definitely related to energy harvesting. This could be related to isolation too. This is an isolation ritual being practiced with the Five of Cups. This is an isolation ritual being practiced, but yet other people are unable to detect that or read that. I'm going to tell you why. Because other people are put under some type of control when it comes to that. It's only meant for that person, that specific person, to take notice of it at that time. Nobody else can acknowledge that, right? Everybody else is just ignoring it, but yet you can notice it. That's an isolation ritual with the Five of Cups. This is meant to put you in the energy to where you feel like nobody else can see this, nobody else can be around, nobody else is going to believe you. But when you upload this footage, you got other people that's going through the same thing, the same exact identical thing of a ritualistic practice that could be identified as, hey, this is what's going on. And there's other people that's commenting on there that's giving their testimony. So you have several people that are sharing identical activity at what is occurring. This is an isolation ritual with the Five of Cups. This is meant to put you in the energy of lack, meant to put you in the energy of depression. Not really anxiety, but meant to put you in the energy of depression. And meant to put you in the energy of a lot of fear, and fear of being alone. And no one being around. Even though that vehicle may be sitting there, it's meant to distract you on a spiritual level, to harm you on a 3D psychological level, and all to manipulate the neurons of the brain, to trick the brain into believing that this is the only thing that you're capable of being around and being identified with at that exact moment. This is also a ritualistic practice in order to project as if you're deserving of this, which is a brainwashing ritual. This is connected to isolation and brainwashing rituals. To brainwash you, just like I said, to trick the brain into believing that this is what you're deserving of and this is what you will always acknowledge. Therefore, it's going to put you in the energy of having to feel like you're isolated because nobody else can see that. Everybody else is overlooking that but you. But yet, this is a brainwashing tactic of a ritualistic practice that's taking place in order to condition you as to put you in this Five of Cups energy. That can either push you over the edge to going to a bridge or doing something sinister to yourself. I'm not really going to get too much into details, but that's what that is meant for. It's an isolation and brainwashing ritual. That's part of a dark witchcraft cult practice with this Five of Cups energy. You're not going to find that on COINTELPRO. I don't know what the fuck people talking about when it comes to that because it don't identify with what this is right here. I promise you. There may be certain surveillance tactics that may be used. This is different than a physical investigative surveillance type of law enforcement job. This has nothing to do with a conducting of an investigation. This is the exact opposite. This is not surveillance. This is a ritualistic dark witchcraft practice that's taking place to mimic that. But it's not really that. Therefore, it can throw people's perceptions off when it comes to it. So it's a tricky energy. But it's not a surveillance tactic. This is not a legitimate investigative tactic of surveillance. Even though there may be a bit of monitoring as there, it's not a surveillance tactic as to be conducting a legitimate investigation of surveillance like that. It's a tricky situation, bro, I'm telling you. And this right here is why most people may not be believed, because they don't know how to use their level of discernment in order to get into the details on what that may be. Therefore, when they misrepresent certain things or they just misinterpret certain things that may not know what's going on in their surroundings, therefore has them discredited. Like I said, this is a huge trickster energy that's beyond that. But this is definitely related to a dark witchcraft ritualistic practice that takes place in order for this to happen. And yes, this is related to the S word rituals. Suicide rituals. It's not good. Clarify that. The Hermit. This is to put you in isolation. Like I said, isolation rituals. To have you feel like you're the only one on this planet that is dealing with this. That's isolation. But that right there is also about a tormented, manipulative trickster spirit of a ritualistic practice to conjure up a demonic force to attack the mind at the same time. Because these individuals that are engaging with this practice are taken over by something, right? And they're cloaked. Why you think they have tinted windows where you can't see through them? That's a cloaking energy. With the Hermit card. That right there would be a form of cloaking. Cloaking means camouflage themselves in their surroundings in order to be unidentifiable. That's what this is. And this is to force you into isolation and to force you into believing that you're the only one that is experiencing this, but other people have their testimony shared publicly of identical activity. It may not be with the same exact identical car, but it's with a different car, but the same exact identical activity. And this is what this is connected to. Clarify that. Two of Pentacles. This can also be connected to having you go back and forth. Having you in a sense of uncertainty. Like, what do you do? What else can you do? Some of you can feel a weird energy around you to where the energy feels manipulated like a spiral and energy around you, like this. That would be like a juggling energy like that. You could feel like a spiraling energy around you. You could feel like these individuals are circling you, like an energy is circling you. That right there is the ritualistic practice that is, you can feel the energy, especially if you're an intuitive person, if you're a spiritual person. You are able to pick this up and to detect how powerful this ritual is. You're picking up the bubble of it because these individuals have some type of shielding in order to keep other people out of that. You're picking up a shield that's around you. There's a shielding type of mechanism that they're shielding other people from being able to interpret that, to catch on to it, in order to force you more into isolation, to get you to where you feel like you're the only one that's experiencing that. This is a protective shield that these witches and warlocks are using when it comes to that. That's what you feel when it comes to a weird energy that feels like it's spiraling around you. That's a shield. In order to try to cloak you, to keep you from being detected, as to say that, hey, something is wrong. They don't want nobody else to take notice of that. That's all part of that. Once again, isolation. People are not going to be able to get into this information logically, I'm telling you. A logical investigation is not going to be able to identify this accurately or properly. You're going to have to use the spiritual community, like people that are very advanced with their gift of nature, in order to identify, to break down to the details what this is that is keeping other people from seeing what they're seeing. But the same individuals that go through this activity are able to identify it. It's because you have a certain light about you with the Six of Wands energy. You have a difference about you. You're not part of one of these individuals. You're the opposite of the darkness. And some of these individuals that may not be truly connected to themselves may not know how to identify that or to see that at that exact time. But the more that you broadcast it, the more that you speak up about it, it can be drawing attention to it. Even though they may not be able to truly interpret what that really is that's doing that, because it's cloaking. That's all connected to that cloaking. So therefore, it's going to come across as a bit of confusion too. There's confusion and cloaking energy very heavily. Confusion ritual, cloaking ritual, that's being done all at the same time. Therefore, it's going to bring this sense of uncertainty upon what's really taking place in your surroundings when this is what's occurring. It's meant to have you feeling as if you're alone. You're in a ghost town. You're in a ghost city. Nobody else acknowledges anything. It's also a practice in order to try to condition other people to avoid you. That's why some of you out there may not notice people come up to you and talk to you. You may always be the one that has to initiate a conversation with someone. That's all part of the isolation ritual, because it's affecting other people in a covert way that they're unable to detect, because that right there, once again, is another part of the cloaking and isolation. They're also being isolated. There's a divider. There's a division there, an invisible division between both dimensions of the spirit world and the 3D reality. But what they're doing is they're using the dark side of the underworld in order to have like this portal of this shield that is creating this division, this invisible division between you and this other person. Damn, this is taking a lot of energy out of me, y'all. Like, this is the first time I channel something like this. Out of all my career at being a divination person, a spiritualist, this is the first time I channel something like this. That's the Most High coming through. Yeah, he is. He's coming through heavily. I don't even need my cards to actually tap into that energy, but they do help, though. Clarify that. Clarify that. The Knight of Pentacles reverse. There's also something here that may be coming out in regards to being unable, this illusion that it's giving off the vibes as if you're unable to persevere through a situation. This is all about that energy of frustration with the Knight of Pentacles reverse, like something feels like it's moving way too slow. This is the illusion. This is another ritual being done in order to try to manipulate things with reverse time traveling. Ritual energy. That's what I'm getting from the Knight of Pentacles reverse. Reverse time traveling. As to have you feel like you're taking steps backwards all the time. There's no progression. You feel like you're always taking steps backwards like that. That's what this give me the vibes of. It's always you taking step backwards. Taking steps backwards. That right there would be another form of that cloaking energy. It's all form of that isolation. It's all part of that isolation that's being done. But what this is getting at, this wants to desperately implant itself within the mind in order to brainwash. Because when it can latch on to the mind like that and hook itself and embed itself in the mind like that and grip onto it, therefore it can control. That's why most people may not be able to properly express themselves. They may be emotionally in an emotional vulnerable state, but they're unable to express themselves the proper way. So once again, oppression. That right there would be an oppression ritual. It's all this combined together, but all being used in one. Which is why this is an odd thing for this to be identified on a logical level, because one is odd, right? That's an odd number. So this creates a lot of odd energy around this. I'm going to tell you where the odd energy is coming from. That's that cloaking. It's not really much the isolation right there. It's that cloaking mechanism from the cloaking ritual. If some of you was ever in a connection with somebody and you always felt this energy of you just feel alone, that right there will be part of that too. But we're talking about things that has been done in order to misdirect other people's attention to where they don't catch on to what's going on. And it's directly focused upon that one person. That's that shield. That's that cloaking shield to keep other people out of that bubble to where they can't detect that. That's what it is. That's what I'm channeling from this energy right here. Give me another message. Page of Cups. These rituals are also being used with children, with the Page of Cups energy. Some of you could be a mom or a dad. You don't have to be. So some of you out there may have a son or a daughter. So this right here, this ritual is being used with children's energy, with the Page of Cups, which is highly deceptive and sickening on these individuals' behalf. Some of you can also be a psychic messenger, and you may be able to channel certain things. Some of you has had this gift for a long time, what it looks like with the Page of Cups energy. You could have had this gift for a long time. But there's something very significant about something fishy being done with energy in regards to these individuals. But this is how it's able to create like as if nobody is doing anything wrong. That's the energy of innocence. As if these individuals are not doing anything wrong. There's nothing wrong. Therefore, it's going to be painting this illusion of, oh, you're crazy. This is going to better to get you discredited because they're cloaking in the energy of innocence with the Page of Cups, because that's what that card means. That can represent innocence, but it's an innocent energy. It may not be interpreted as a character, but it's the energy of innocence. So that's another thing as how it's unable to be identified, which is why people may be overlooked. Their reports may be overlooked. But this is all meant to misdirect the attention upon something else to create distractions. Because if something looks innocent, how is anything wrong? Exactly. That right there is cloaking. It's all connected into the isolation with the cloaking. That's a cloaked energy. clarify that. The Ace of Cups, exactly. So this right here would appear to be as if there's nothing wrong. This is also creating the illusion as if something is genuine, but yet it's really not. You are the genuine energy, but yet they're trying to cloak all this being done within genuine energy in order to cloak themselves in the innocent energy. Therefore, it's going to throw it off even more. Somehow, you always end up with these individuals that seem to be charming, that seem to be a good-spirited person, but yet end up tricking you. Some people always question, how come it's the same activity, but yet with a different face, same energy? That's a monitoring spirit jumping from one vessel to the next vessel, one vessel to the next vessel. That's a monitoring spirit that is using different vessels that it knows that it can control on a spiritual level, and all to use those vessels and all to trick you. That's a trickster spirit. That's what that is. And it knows if you're not intuitively discerning enough in order to detect that energy, it's going to be able to trick you. It's going to be able to provide you with anything that you want at first. It can also provide the illusion of love at first sight. But if you feed into that, you're giving that entity power. And therefore, you start to begin to notice of, why is this individual changing? The thing of it is, it's not changing. That person was already like that, because you have to keep in mind, it's not the physical vessel that is operating that way. That's that malevolent force, that's that entity that's taking over that body, that's controlling that, because it's all being done on a spiritual level. That's also part of the isolation ritual. Because you seem as if you're the only one that loves this person, but yet it's being mirrored back to you. That right there would be shape-shifting energy. That's a shape-shifting ritual taking place also. So something could be coming out about how something weird going on with people's love life. With the Ace of Cups. That right there could be drawing a lot of attention to it. When it comes to that, even though that's not really a crime, y'all, the law needs to know about this, because some of them could be affected by people that may not resonate with them. And it's like, how come they can't get this individual out of their head? Because they could be part of one of these isolation rituals that could be affecting them. It could be affecting their connections. See, it's in our destiny and our purpose to inspire the law to know what spirituality is really about, because we have that high rank in the spirit world to address these issues within these situations here. It's okay for the law. It's okay for the government and the law to learn about spirituality. There's nothing toxic about it. Because this is going to better to identify the root of the problem, why certain things are being done that may not have anything to do with them originally. Because that's not the law to start with. That's not the law that's doing that. It's people that are working for the law that are in this energy that is doing that. That's the difference. But once they're out of there, the activity will stop. Because the law is the law. The law is the law. Law is the law. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, this has a lot to do with somebody could be going through this in their love life. It will mimic love at first sight. But that right there is to trick you in order to embed itself as a hooking mechanism. It wants to anchor itself down like that as the hook itself to you. And once it has you hooked, that's when the love bombing comes in. This is what you call spiritual narcissism. But this is all being done, believe it or not, from these individuals committing these type of ritualistic practices. And if some of you was ever involved with somebody that may have not have been genuine, that was ingenuine, that was all part of the honey pot. The honey trap. That's what that's connected to. That ain't no genuine person. That come from one of these individuals because they're one of them also. That's where that come from. And I'm going to tell you why this individual wants your energy. They want your energy in order to transfer this back to these individuals because they're energy vampires. But this could also be interpreted as a vampiric, ritualistic energy harvesting ritual that is meant to extract your genuine energy in order to transfer and transmute their negative energy in order to try to swap energies. There's some type of swapping going on here, like an arrow is going both ways. It's like arrow going this way, arrow going this way, but it's like a reversing energy like this. So every time that you contact, so every time you make contact with this energy and you engage with this energy on a certain level, at the person that you may be in the presence of, that right there is going to give the simulation of you're going to feel drained of your energy or possibly depleted. Because I'm going to tell you what's taking place. The minute you and this individual's energy connect together, you are reversing energy. It's like they're transferring their energy up onto you, and you're transferring your genuine energy up onto them. So therefore, it's going to create the illusion as if this person may have the same qualities as you. But there's that mirroring mechanism. They're literally mirroring back your energy that you originally gave them. Another thing of a trickster spirit. That's another trickster spirit energy with the Ace of Cups. Because once your energy is transferred to this individual, they have your energy. Therefore, it's going to be able to mimic what your soul's vibration is. So is that really your person? Or is that your energy being projected back upon you? Is that real love? Checkmate. This right here is all part of the love ritualistic spells too. That's a love spell. That's all part of a love spell. It's all part of that too. Give me more information. Wheel of Fortune. But this right here is going to begin to shift things in a way that it's supposed to be shifted, because these individuals are able to manipulate energies and manipulate frequencies. But something is telling me that there's a major shift taking place with external force intervention that could be coming through as law officials or people in the law that could be judging these practices that are taking place, not with a love situation, but what I called out earlier in regards to what is pertaining to the suspicious activity involving vehicles or just strange activity that's not easily identifiable on a logical level. So there's something right here that will be taking place of a shift with the Wheel of Fortune energy that can have a lot to do with external force level intervention. That's going to create a positive, powerful shift. That's going to be able to remove these negative energies from manipulating things and cloaking themselves. So there's a removal of this activity being cloaked. That's another thing I'm getting. So there's a removal of this activity of being cloaked. The cloaking is being removed. These activities are no longer cloaked like they once were. And this is also transforming the frequencies and Mother Earth of the 3D dimensional reality and shifting it more into the golden age and for the age of heaven on earth with the Wheel of Fortune. Because once the law is made better, their communities will be better. This is beginning to take a major shift and to shift things into the golden age. Because this could be interpreted as golden. And they have angels right there. That would be heaven on earth. Because once the law is the real law. And these type of people right here that be engaging in these practices, not of the law at all. Once the right people are put in there, things will be better. Things will definitely be better. You will be protected. You will be cared for. You will feel like you're family. And the crime rate will cut down too. And they're not going to be too much concerned about the pay. They're going to enjoy their job because money's not going to be everything. It's about your true happiness. It's about living your life and appreciating the breaths that you're taking, bro. as a person. Because these law officials have to understand that they're also a spiritual being on this plane. There also are a spirit beyond that vessel that are living on this plane along with us. It's not the color of the tone of the skin. It's not even the physical flesh that matters. Because a spirit is just energy. Is it identified by a color? There's really no identification when it comes to energy, but it's a soul. It's a spirit. At the end of the day, we're not only just human, we are spiritual beings beyond these vessels that have a purpose and destiny here. And if the law has the destiny of serving and protecting, here's the real serving and protecting part, where they don't have to constantly protect people. Them just being there and doing their job the right way will cut down on a lot of the crime rate in order for them to be, it's like a natural protection. With the Ten of Pentacles energy, it's going to bring in a natural protective energy. This is a shift that is occurring in order to transfer things directly into the golden age is what it looks like, y'all. Because this cult type of energy is ending. It's over. It is beginning to shift. And these individuals that has been doing this are being told to leave. Because it's the law's job to protect you. It's the law's job to acknowledge the fact that, hey, if they want to be engaging with conversations with a spiritual person, or if they want to have relations with a spiritual person, or if they want to be involved with spirituality, at whatever some of you out there may be doing, it is perfectly fine for them to do so because it's protected under the First Amendment. There shouldn't be no division between spiritual people and the law. There should not be that. Because those spiritual people are here for a reason. They're here to better those individuals. They're here to transform them. To have them see that, hey, you being an official, you may have that uniform on. At the end of the day, you have the right to be a spiritual person too. You don't have to feel like you're a robotic person. You don't have to feel like you got to be something that you're not. That right there may be something that may be controlling you due to one of these individuals and this energy right here. But that will be removed. Whatever has been trying to condition you as to believe that you got to be somebody else within that uniform, within that badge, you are still a spiritual being, even beyond the uniform, even beyond your casual clothing. Even while you're off duty, you're a soul beyond that body. And anybody that is trying to corrupt your mind or harm your spirit in order to harm somebody that's innocent, that right there is where the problem is. It's with that person. Law officials have a duty here in the spiritual meaning beyond while they're here to protect. They're here to keep humanity safe. To make sure these evil spirits are no longer around, to where when you have a lot of positive vibrational energy, therefore you got people being happy and cutting up and having a good time together, that right there is going to create the vibration of the darkness cannot survive in that. Now, that may not be all the time, all day, every day, but this is definitely going to cut back on a lot of hatred, a lot of violence, a lot of things that don't resonate with what is supposed to be done. That's also affecting a lot of law enforcement officials in these times. It's also even manifested itself in the courthouses, in the courtrooms. A lot of chaos taking place. Unlawful convictions, false allegations of convictions happening. When in reality, the person didn't do anything wrong. They have to serve something that they didn't even do, and yet years later they find out that they're innocent. That right there is all I'm telling you. And yet everybody want to feel bad. But yet they had to serve all that time for nothing. And yet they was innocent the whole time. You know what I'm saying? So this is a shift that's taking place due to a lot of things being under judgment right now. Divine judgment and also 3D, physical 3D judgment. And I'm getting that the law may be agreeing to hear spiritual people out rather than shun them off to the side. Because I'm going to tell you right now, bro, a lot of us has been betrayed by these officials that has been engaging with these practices. With the high priests and the hierophant reverse, we don't consider them to be real officials to start with. They're not the law. Whenever I was out of state in Texas, I was around a real police force. I was around a real deal. Where I was, the location I was at, wasn't trying to intimidate me or follow me or none of that. Would actually sit there and talk to me, wave at you, have a conversation with you. You could walk through the parking lot, whatever hour you want. If they sit there in their car, they talk to you. That's how it's supposed to be. You could leave wherever your style was staying in the hotel back then. You could leave at any time of day, any time of morning, any time at night, and walk down the road without any type of bothersome energy, without you being bothered. And you could tell they was genuine. You could tell they was really there to protect people. You could tell that. Because you could sit there and cuddle up with them and laugh with them. That's how it's supposed to be. Especially when they just, they acknowledge you and they talk to you first when you're walking through the parking lot. Like, hey, how's it going, man? And you turn around like, hey, it's going okay. How about yourself? That right there is a sign in itself that that's genuine. And for them to sit there and smile and laugh, that right there is how it should be. I myself, from my experience, I was protected whenever I was out of state. I felt more at home than I am over here in my actual hometown that I grew up and was raised in. I felt like I was more at home, brother, than I ever felt a day of my life where I was. Those officials weren't going to let nothing happen to me. Nothing. They may not have knew me like that, but I was well known as to be staying in that hotel by the police department. It was right there next to the police department. That's where I was intuitively guided to go. I felt safe there. Most people would be intimidated by, they got the police right there. You ain't got to be scared of that. You ain't got to be scared, bro. You ain't doing nothing wrong. You ain't got a damn thing to worry about. But that's where I was intuitively guided to go, and I felt safe and protected right there. And sometimes they'd have like this fence where you could go through the parking lot. Like you go through this fence area, you could walk to the store because the store is right up the road. I walked straight through the parking lot, no matter what time it was. If they got them sitting at the car, they sit there and talk to you. Or if they pull in the driveway, they'll wave at you when they go and park their unit. That's how it's supposed to be, brother. Like, there ain't nobody going to sit there and mess with you. They just there doing their job. But anyways, y'all, getting back to the reading. That was a good experience I had whenever I was over there. But anyways, it's like some of these individuals like, oh, why you want to go over there? Oh, they got the police right there. If you ain't doing nothing wrong, then you ain't got a damn thing to worry about. What they gonna do? Sit there and talk to you? Sit there and pull the driveway and sit in their car? Do their job? Sit there and take radar and not bother you, and yet you worried about a police officer? Hey, bro, that's the one you ain't got to worry about. Because they ain't going to sit there and bother you. They ain't going to do it. But anyways, I'm just saying. Bro, they got some of these videos of where they be what they call that? What they call that when they throw the magnet over the like they fishing in the road like with a magnet fishing? They'd have some officials that would pull up and actually help them magnet fish like that just to have a good old time and cut up with them and smile on camera. I'm gonna tell you a long time ago, y'all, like when the force was completely different. This was years ago. Don't you know they had a cop that came back there and rode the foiler with us? Bro, we would sit there and love these cup fucking donuts over and over and over and over and over. Bro, that was funny as hell. Look, they came back there and started cutting donuts over, and you wasn't even supposed to be back there, but guess what? He didn't give a shit. You wasn't even supposed to be back there. He's like, nah, fuck that. We were sitting back there cutting donuts, bro. It's like he let us on the four-wheeler. He was from a different city limit jurisdiction. Like, he was across the water over there. But this is one of the cool ones. He's like, man, I want to ride some four-wheelers. And we was back there riding four-wheelers. Put ruts all in the damn ground and everything. I'm telling you. That's the kind that we need in these times, bro. That's the real deal. Like, they could be themselves, bro. I mean, that may not have been okay back then, but you know what I'm saying? Yep. I figured I'd share that. Since I'm on this topic right here with the Wheel of Fortune, the Golden Age, they really do have some of them out there that will do stuff like that. Like, you at least expect it. Like, man, they actually going to chime in and have a good time with you. That's how it's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? They ain't supposed to be sitting there trying to bother you. He obviously wanted to ride the foiler that day. Came back there, bro. That shocked us too. That shocked the hell out of him. Come back there on this foiler with the shades on. Hey, how's it going, boys? So it's going okay. They gonna ride some fours today, huh? I said, yes, sir, we are. I come out here and ride with y'all. That's how it's supposed to be. He had the shades on, everything. Come back there, ride on a big old Rancher. He had a Ranger or a Rancher, so one of the two. A Ranger or a Rancher. I don't think. Yeah, it's a Rancher, I want to say. It was a Rancher. Or what it was. I want to say it was it was a or what the fuck? Yeah, it was a Rancher. It was a Rancher. That's what it was. It was a Rancher. But anyways, let's go ahead and keep reading the cards with this situation. The Ten of Cups Traverse. Okay, so there's a shift taking place in regards to the people not truly being happy with each other either. There's a shift taking place that's going to better families. This is a supernatural shift, y'all. This is more so like a spiritual shift that's happening. That's going to better to shift the 3D dimensional, the energy up on the land within the universal realm. There's a spiritual shift taking place in order to balance out a lot of energies on this 3D realm. There's definitely going to be a lot much more peace without all this uncomfortable energy. So there's definitely a shift that may be taking place with the Wheel of Fortune. But this is all in regards to the law is agreeing to hear spiritual people out when it comes to these activities and these practices that are being done. What it looks like. Yeah. There's agreement that was reached here as I say, you know what? Y'all are right. Y'all are right. They can't be doing that. They cannot be doing that. They proud of somebody too. What they gonna do? Give you a cake? What they gonna do? Give you a cake? You know what I'm saying? Throw you a party? That's what they gonna do. Anyways, let's go ahead and Close a message. Close a message. Close a message. Queen of Cup Traverse. Close a message. So that right there was a pretty good read, y'all. In a long time, I ain't had no energy like that come through. So that right there is proof that there's a shift taking place. Y'all see the difference in the energy? That was a good reading. I'm getting that some of them may be reaching, coming into agreement to hear the spiritual community out when it comes to these practices. Because we're the only ones that's obviously able to identify. You know what I'm saying? And they're like, y'all right, y'all right, y'all right. They can't be doing that. No, they can't be doing that. Nope. Nope, that ain't the law. You right, that ain't the law. What he gonna do, get mad? Give me a closing message, damn it. Ain't nobody care to get mad or not. Ooh, the Magician reverse. Ten of Cups reverse. The Two of Swords reverse. Oh, the Tower. Yep. Yeah. I'm telling you. The Hierophant. Yeah. I'm telling you, look, there's that negative energy right there. There's that negative energy right there. Yep, that's got to transform, bro. That's got to transform. That has to transform what I mean. Okay, so there's a transformation when it comes to this energy. Once again, it's showing itself again. This has to transform. Four Wands reversed. This has to transform. Knight of Wands. Okay, so fun time is over for these individuals. What it looks like. Fun time is over. Fun time is over. There's a lot of change that's going to happen that's going to make a lot of people happy too. Nine of Swords reverse. There's an ending to worries. King of Swords reverse. Okay, so there's a lot of transformation energy that's happening. It's going to better to bring a lot of positive changes to you, but negative changes to these individuals that has been doing this because they cannot be in there doing this anymore. This right here is inhumane. There's an inhumane energy right here. King of Swords reverse. And someone's going to be happy. The people that has been having to suffer this is going to be happy now that this is transforming. They have to leave. 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 I'll tell you, brother, there's that raspy voice energy that I'm telling you. I'm telling you. That gots to go, bro. These individuals gots to go. The wrong oath. The wrong oath. You see that right there? The wrong oath. That's got to go. That's got to stop. That has to stop. Oh, whoop. Somebody, I'm telling you. This right here, bro, is all twisted. Like, this is a twisted type of energy right here with the Hierophant reverse. Twisted energy. It's like everything that people do that are wrong is being seen as innocent. And everything that you do that's not wrong is being seen as a crime. That right there is what's switching. That's what's switching. Yep. There's an end to that, bro. Screw that. Screw that. That right there don't even make any sense. Don't even make any sense. I don't know if it's trying to work the pole or something, but it still ain't gonna better make sense. Can't even make $1. Damn, bro. This is a thing so they can manipulate itself. It's like it thinks it's working a pole or something. It still can't make a damn dime. Not even $1. You know what I'm saying? It's like this energy thinks that they can just work whatever they want to work with the Hierophant reverse. That's how they think they could just work everything. This is word twisting too. Look at that word twist. You see words? Hold on. See how words in reverse? It's word twisting. That's all about words, right? That's word twisting. Everything that is being done that's bad is being seen as good, and yet everything that's being done that's good is being seen as bad. It's a backwards, reverse, twisted energy with the magician reverse. That right there is what's changing. Like everything is backwards within what these individuals are doing. Backwards. Don't make any sense whatsoever. Makes absolutely no sense. None. That's what I'm getting here. Yep. But anyways, this is what I have for the reading. This one I resonate with everybody. But that's what I have for the reading, y'all. Scorpio, Taurus, Aries, Virgo, Gemini energy. Yep. So this right here is going to be transforming a lot of things. That's what it looked like. But anyways, y'all have a good day out there or a good night out there, y'all. If y'all want to leave any donations, I will have a link in the description box below. And I'll see y'all some other time. Peace.